everybody, and welcome back to the Chromatic podcast. My name is Michelle, and this is my place on the internet where I talk about all of my yarny adventures. I'm back after a couple weeks here, and I have some knitting to show, some other things to talk about, so let's get into it. So, update on 2026 goals. So I had a kind of a big milestone, like a big goal, life goal that I had achieved. So I did buy some yarn to celebrate that. But otherwise, I have not been buying yarn. I've been starting to use and think of projects to go from stash, and yeah. So just starting to use up some of the things that I already have. So you'll see some of that coming up. Another goal that I achieved was, one of my goals was to complete this blanket. So I was on the cast off. I'll pick it up so you can see. It's massive. This is the Slipstravaganza blanket by Stephen West. Would recommend, but it takes a long time to finish. So the border looks like that. It is nice and big and warm. I have been using it since it's been very cold here recently. No, I have not sewn in the ends because it has roughly a billion of them, and there's only so much time in the day, and I really just want to knit. Like, I just have this, like, my knitting mojo is back. I just want to knit, and I don't want to make great things and learn great things and do great things, and sewing in ends just isn't it for me right now. So when that inevitably goes back down, that knitting mojo, then I will consider sewing in the ends. But until that day, no. Every once in a while I might just like pick it up and do a couple ends, and then eventually it'll be done when I'm 1,000, but we'll eventually get there. So that is my only finished object, but it is a massive one, and I'm so glad to have it off the needles. It's been on the needle since 2021. For those of you playing the home game, it is 2026, which means it took me 5 years to complete. And all of that yarn was from stash. So, a huge stash buster, obviously. I have to buy more yarn to finish it? Yes. I did have to buy more of the teal yarn, of this color, this teal here. You can see a little bit better when I hold it up. That is a homespun house. I did have to order a couple more skeins of that because I 100% misjudged how much I had at the time. But otherwise, but you know me, any reason to buy yarn from a homespun house, I'm like, I'm game. Like, let's do this. So yes, so this is complete, and I am so happy that it's complete. And now I am never ever gonna knit that pattern again. Loved it while I was doing it, would not repeat, because it takes apparently 5 years to finish. And I mean, I know I'm not a product knitter, I'm a process knitter, but like, you gotta like finish something occasionally, you know what I mean? Like, otherwise you're just sitting there and you're like, I'm never gonna be done with any of this, and that's when your mojo dies. So yeah, so I'm glad that that is off the needles. Now I do have several whips. One of them is the Sweet Shop blanket. I'm not going to show it because I've showed it 100 times. I finished a couple of squares on it, but I still have a long way to go. So, but that has been getting some love here recently, especially because I joined a new knitting group that is online. So if you're looking for a virtual knitting group, I would highly recommend. It is the Twin Stitches Designs knitting group that is run by Julia over there. And so most of the group is from Canada, because she is also Canadian, and because of the time zone issue, most of them are from Canada for that reason as well. They're super nice, would highly recommend, and they're very, very welcoming. I just started going to their Zooms about 2 weeks ago, the beginning of February, and have had nothing but great things to say about it, and great experiences since I've started going there. So would recommend if you are looking for a virtual knitting community, or if you are in a place where it is difficult during the winter to travel to your knit group, your local knit group, because of the weather, or because you only have one snowplow in your city and it's run by Jimmy. That's how it feels like here. I mean, literally, like, it's like a guy last year. We finally saw the snowplow, and it was a guy with a pickup truck with the plow attachment on the front, and a guy literally sitting in the back of the truck throwing salt and or sand from a bucket out of the back of the truck. And I'm like, that is not enough. I don't know, like, I don't care how big your hands are, like, however much you're grabbing and throwing out onto the road, it is not sufficient. Excuse me. Oh my gosh. But I have started some things, because why not? I finished something, right? That means I get to start things. So this project right here is actually leftover yarn from this blanket. So it is the purple that is in this blanket. This is Drops Lima. So this is so I was like, I want to make a garment, and then I was like, but I don't want to do like endless stockinette in the round, because that's boring. And also, like, I don't want to make one my size because I don't have the attention span for that, and because I didn't want to add like another huge like project onto my needles. So I was like, hey, what if I made a dog sweater? Because my dog does get quite cold in the winter, especially when we've had very cool temperatures and ice and snow and things. So, and they've started putting like a vest on her when she goes to doggy daycare, and I was like, I could make her a sweater. So I am making, I'll bring it a little bit closer so you can see the texture on that. This is the Dustland sweater by Stephen West. And the reason that I picked this pattern is because it has all of these like 1 to 2 inch sections with different patterns and different knitting techniques on them. So it keeps my like ADHD brain like going. And it makes me want to keep knitting on this and keep getting to the next section. And I don't really have that much more to go. So I just have, so I needed to knit 3 inches from here, my marker there, which is a bear. In case you didn't see that, he's got a Christmas tree on his shirt, or a pine tree. I got this from Charmed and Dangerous, in case you're interested and where you get that from. But I needed 3 inches from there to get it to her armpit so that I could split for sleeves. So I knit about 1 inch yesterday when I went and hung out with a couple of my friends and knit. And so I just have a little bit more, and then I can split for sleeves, and then I just have to do a little bit of the body because it's a dog sweater. Like, I can make it however long I want, and then cast off from there. So, yeah. So, yeah. I'm so glad to have this on my needles. It has been a joy to knit and would highly recommend the Dustlin sweater. It is also a human sweater as well pattern. But like I said, I didn't want a big project on my needles right after I just finished that ginormous blanket. So dog sweater it is. And then, so that's a new cast on. And then another new cast on. Okay, so a couple of years ago, I can't remember if it was for my birthday or Christmas, one of my best friends, Brenna, who probably does not watch this podcast. I don't think she does. She, I don't know where she found this exactly, but she looked online and she found this merino roving. Essentially, it's made really for like finger knitting, like when you do like the loops yourself and you just like pull it through and then you just do that along the row. And so like when you do that, you really have to do it in like one session. And so I'm not about that life because I have ADHD and I can't focus for longer than like a few minutes. So, but I noticed that when I'm podcasting, this is kind of bare and I don't like it and I want something there that's pretty. And so I started, because I mean, obviously, if you use roving like this and you think about washing it, it will like get annihilated. Like it'll just like destroy it. So instead, I'm going to make a tapestry to hang over there in that space. And it's just going to be like a stockinette swatch. So I'm using these. One of my friends called them vampire stakes, which is a 10 out of 10. I think they are size 70 needles, which is insane. Yeah, US 70. Check that out. So really, you're like hand knitting it and then you're just putting it on a circular needle. So this is coming along. It's really basic. It does take much longer than you think. Like you think that you'd be like, yeah, let's just knock this out. But like, because you have to be so careful with this roving because it will rip or it will come apart. And so you're constantly like having to push it like back together and like split splice everything. So I do have the rest of this one left. And then I have, if I can reach it, I have a whole one of these left and I've already used one. So it'll be, a couple feet long and that's really all I need. And a bit wide because there's a big area on that wall. And then I'll have my nice little tapestry that I can hang up with that'll showcase some knitting. And then I can try not to touch this. It's really soft. Would highly recommend. I just want to pet this basically. And like every time I knit on it, I'm terrified that it's just gonna like disintegrate. Because there's zero twist to this. Like there's nothing holding it together. And so it's kind of like knitting with what's that called? With cotton candy. It's like candy floss, depending on where you live. It's like knitting with cotton candy. Like it's just like I'm afraid that it's just gonna like disintegrate into nothing. But that's coming along. I'm hoping to be done with that this week. And then I can work on trying to figure out how to hang it up and not have it stretch or rip at the top because it'll be heavy. But this yarn doesn't have any real structure to it. So it's just we're going to have to kind of deal with that and figure that out. But otherwise, it's coming along. Love it. And I think that it will look lovely right there. As a way to show some knitting and have a nice, like, kind of cozy background for these videos. And then the only other thing that I have worked on is I finished that blanket and was like, I'm in the middle of a row, obviously. I didn't want to start anything big, or something time consuming. So I just started knitting a dishcloth. So this is a whip. It'll be done, like, I don't know, in another few minutes. And then this will be an FO. But yeah, just wanted something mindless that I could do while I was working and didn't have to think about it or look at a pattern. Luckily, the Stephen West is mindless enough. It's basic enough that I can do it while I'm working, and that I won't lose my place if I have to put it down suddenly. So, because with my job, I may have to do that at any time. And then that way I can, just keep going with it instead of having to, like, frog every 5 minutes because I thought I'm not in the place I thought I was, which happens a lot. And then the only other thing that I've been knitting on is, so I have signed up. If you have not heard of it, there is this thing in America called the Knitting Guild Association. I believe there may be a guild in another country as well. But basically, their goal is to bring people together who love to knit and love to learn to knit. And they have classes available that you can take, like correspondence courses where you mail your knitting in. They have other ones where you just take a picture and send it into the instructor, and then they give you feedback on your knitting. And it's not like they are gonna, like, push you, to complete it. You have a year. So, like, if you have life, if life happens, you can always come back to it and continue. And it's fine. So, loving that. I'm taking basics right now. And then I'm also taking another course, which is about, like, stocking edging. And then I'm taking those in preparation for they also have a master hand knitter certificate, which I am planning to do and complete. The whole thing can take like 4.5 years, but like I said, it's at your own pace. So you could knock it out faster if you're, if you just, like, get in there and get it done. So I signed up for this class that I'm doing right now. It has 3 sections. It has 3 lessons. I just signed up for it, like, literally on New Year's Day. And I've completed all the knitting for the first lesson. Oh my gosh, you guys, you should have seen me. I was like, because there's swatches where you do different techniques on them, basically, is what the first lesson is. It's, like, really chill. It's not bad. But, like, I finished, there were 5, it said, okay, knit these 5 swatches, and I finished the 5th swatch, and I was like, I'm done. And then I turned the page, and, like, I scrolled up to read the next directions, and it said extra credit swatch, and I was like, I thought I was done. And I'm like, yeah, I don't have to do this, but, like, I'm also paying for this course, so I want to get as much out of it as possible, especially before I do that master hand knitter certificate. And so I'm just like, ugh. So I texted a couple of my friends that are also doing the course, and I was like, no. I was so close. But I still have to sew in the ends on those and wash and block them. And then I need to, there's a bunch of questions that they have you answer. So I need to go back and I need to actually, like, fill out the questions. and type those up so that I can send them off to the instructor, and then I can get my swatches in the mail and sent to the instructor so that I can get my feedback, and then I can start lesson 2 if I don't need to fix anything, or I don't know. I don't know what they'll tell me to do. I don't know what they'll say. So we'll find out. It'll be a Christmas surprise. Did I do it correctly? I think so. Am I sure? No. Is the official answer. I'm pretty sure I did, but I'm not 100%. So we'll find out. It'll be a Christmas surprise. But either way, the best thing about it is that I'm learning things, and then I'm going to get feedback on my own knitting of things that I can improve, because that's rare that you get someone who like one-on-one gives you feedback about your knitting, as far as like things that you could do better, things that, you know, they're seeing in your knitting, and, you know, they want to encourage you to do a different technique that might be easier or less strenuous on yourself, or, you know, is going to put less strain on the yarn so it lasts longer, you know, all these different things. So really, they're in your corner rooting for you by giving you this feedback in order to improve your knitting, improve the products that you make. Which for me, like I said, I'm a process knitter, so I'm just like all about the process of doing it. But, you know, if I can learn better how my knitting works and break it down into those basic, you know, ideas and techniques, then that's going to help me later on if I need to alter a pattern, if I need to make changes, if I need to do something different, or if I don't agree with the designer, if I want to do my own thing, that'll help me make that decision based on real life information and things that I've learned in classes. So would recommend, if you get a chance, if you are available to sign up for those courses. You do have to sign up for the guild itself in order to be eligible, but the guild is $35 American dollars, 35 USD for a year. So, I mean, if you think about it, it's cheaper than Netflix. Like, it's cheaper than, you know, 99% of things. It's a skein of yarn. It's one skein of wool, of like hand-dyed yarn, to get that resource for the whole year. And then they also have patterns available on there. They have knit-alongs. They have monthly meetings that are that you can Zoom into and participate in, where they have people teach you different techniques and things. So would highly recommend going on there and checking that out if you haven't. If you live in Northeast Arkansas, we do have a guild here as well, which is the one that I participate in, is the Northeast Arkansas Knitting Guild. The Knitting Guild of Northeast Arkansas. My bad. I switched the words around, but that's what it is. So if you ever get a chance to check it out, do that. Otherwise, that is all I have for my knitting. I'm so happy with my knitting right now. My knitting mojo is at an all-time high. Love it. Sorry. I just have a little bit of a cough from all the bad weather and everything. And I think I inhaled some of that roving. But yeah, so I'm really happy with my knitting. I'm in a really good place with it right now, and I just want to keep doing it. I don't want to stop. I want to keep going, and yeah, we're going to keep going. So I will see you back here in a few weeks with a podcast, but I will see you back here next week with another video about ways to increase your knitting mojo if you are like me and your knitting mojo ebbs and flows significantly from time to time. So would definitely recommend that video. Keep an eye out for it when it comes out. And then I have some other videos coming down the pipeline as well. So I will see you back here in a week. Otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope that you have a excuse me, a successful knitting day, and I hope all your projects go well. Until next week, bye.